This is Amy Club. She's getting her equipment ready. She's our next presenter from Mahoney County Drug Courts. Every once in a while, I'll put in personal vignettes that you have to bear with. Just too bad, you're getting CLE credits, I don't care. You can't throw anything at me, I'm in charge. I heard a homily once in Erie County, and I just loved it. The priest said, imagine tonight somebody puts $1,440 in your checking account. No problem, it's yours. Would that be a good thing? The only condition is you have to spend it all before the next day. But the next day you're going to get $1,440 again. Good thing? Would everybody in here spend the money? When you can't think of what's spending money, would you just let it go away? No, you'd give it to somebody else, right? Each one of us are given 1,440 minutes to live every 24-hour cycle. How you spend those is very important. So you need to spend it having fun. You need to spend it helping other people like your community. You need to have classes where you come from, like I'm doing, once we arm you with knowledge, because knowledge is power. And that, to me, is so you ever see that clock with the national debt? I'm imagining that's my life. And man, those numbers are going faster now. I'm 65. I mean, there's so many things I wanted to do, so I want to make it count, okay? So, going back to this idea of defending somebody who has a substance abuse problem, and the door, when they walked in the door, you laid the law down to them, and they have to recover and prove to you they recovered. You have already done something. Bruce, how many people do you think it's over 150 lives we have saved in our office?
At least
It's amazing. Tony, I feel so good about what I do. Going back to my scenario with Annie, my daughter, it literally makes me high. So the message is, going back to that addict and alcoholic, none of us are laying around somewhere, some poor, pathetic person under a bridge, because we have found a different way to get high, the right way. It is true. It's not corny. It makes sense. You just have to get. So let's go back to this addict that we have to get in control. The first thing we have to do is make sure he or she is clean so that they can hear us. And when you break that cycle of addiction, they actually are hearing you for the first time. When you reach them, oh, it's amazing. How many times we meet people, we've actually had people in our office who are slumped over with their relatives in a chair who can't focus on the conversation. How many, remember that tree cutter, the guy who's running around with chainsaws, for God's sakes? He gets high all the time, up in trees, up in bucket trucks. I won't say his name, he's a Mercer County case. Ken, you were a DA. You gave me a break on that, allowing me to try this theory. That kid is still cutting trees down, has never done drugs ever since. It's amazing. Now, because this is not my segment, and we're going to segue into our main speaker here, I want to leave you with one more thing. And then I'll come back and fill in the gaps. There's lots of gaps. How many people in here know that there is an injectable substance that you can get a shot in the back end, and for 30 days, you could not get high on opiates or alcohol? How many people know that? Okay? I think you both know it because of me in the beginning, right? Yeah? It's amazing. Do you have any idea what that means? This is not addicting. This is not methadone. This is not Suboxone. This is a substance that is non-narcotic. It was invented, it's called naltrexone, and it was invented, approved by FDA, Vivitrol, by the way, if you want to Google it. V-I-V-I-T-R-O-L. Vivitrol. It was first came out as a tablet. It was effective for a day. In fact, Amy, you might have, I guarantee you I was one of the first people that ever mentioned Vivitrol to you.
I know.
Me and Joey Commerce. Yeah, okay? So what does that mean? It means that somehow you plant a seed of knowledge and it starts to spread. Now, let me real quickly say, there is no magic drug in addiction therapy, and that's not one either. I can see it coming. Amy, I bet you can too, because she's commonsensical. Everybody in America wants to take shortcuts. People will take shortcuts. I'm out here banging the drum, asking people to look at medicine-assisted treatment, and she'll tell you about that. But I'm scared to death because somebody's going to say, that dummy told us to do this, and see, I knew it was going to work. If all that person does is get an injection, takes a shortcut, and that's it every month, that is not going to do a darn thing for that person. You must have a coordinated counseling with that for behavioral modification. And Robert, I had the pleasure of meeting one of your old associates who's the president of your bar association, Jim Epstein. Boy, what a wonderful person. And he didn't remember how I screwed up one of his trials once, and I was so glad because when he came, I didn't know if he was still going to be mad at me. I'm sure he didn't remember that. But Jim is the president of our bar, Mercer County Bar Association. And Jim is really into what I'm talking about, behavioral modification. We have a young lady in the back. She's a gifted administrator. She was given one of our awards. She's one of the people that run this fine facility and all these layers of administration. Her name is Jonalyn Remia. Jonalyn can tell you, aside from the 3 R's, the behavior modification is so important, especially with families breaking apart. You actually, for a short time in this client's life, have the power of a parent to actually show them, and even show the parent, things they may have missed on how to parent these people. So it's very important not to run away with that. I'll fill in gaps later. Now we have speakers coming, and I'm plugging people in. There'll be a man coming at 9:30, Matthew Mangino. He's going to teach a 30-minute course. It'll give us plenty of time to catch up. And then you'll have just a little break wherever you're at. Just leave go, and we'll get him in front of you, and then I'll come back too. Okay? I know people are into getting your CLEs, and you're going to get them all. Okay? The mind can only endure a fraction of what the back end can. So when you need to, you don't need to raise your hand and get a hall pass. You just get up, tiptoe out, go to the bathroom, stretch, go get a cup of coffee or a donut. If we run out of donuts, we'll get more donuts, okay? And when we break for lunch, because we didn't know how many people were coming, you're kind of like going to be on your own for lunch if you want something to eat. If you don't want to break at all so you can go home earlier, I'll teach right through the lunch hour, okay? Does everybody understand? Now, I'm about to present somebody. Normally I just make her stand up, but I can't do that. I would be remiss.
Great place because they didn't have coffee down there. Nobody got coffee, so that would be great. Let me go ahead and let them go for their coffee and come back, and I'm gonna put something up. So
I'm going to introduce her, and then we'll do the coffee.
That'd be awesome.
How's that?
Okay, would you stand up? Make sure you turn around. Ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Because we're on film, by the way, and again, you are not the backs of your heads, tops of your heads maybe.
No, they're good. They're
That's all I
good.
need is 5 lawyers, 10 of them sitting.
Everyone turn around and wave.
Okay, now, in my quest not to sound like a dummy, an empty bomb, right? I was trying to learn everything I could about this. I can tell you, every time I learned something new, I ran to his office and laid on his desk. I'll bet you have 10 of those orange notebooks. That's who I am. So I said, I gotta go somewhere where they have a bigger problem. What's the nearest city to us that you think probably have a bigger drug problem? Youngstown, Mahoning County, right? These people are in the trenches. This lady is a soldiered, seasoned veteran. She is down in the trenches. And Amy, how many years have you been there?
11 years.
She's been there 11 years. I am telling you, she hates when I say this, especially on film. Judge Durkin, you have to apologize. I'm apologizing to you if you're watching this video someday. I also want to remind you, Your Honor, that once upon a time at Kennedy Gothic, you yelled at me in front of everybody because my music was too loud. So you got this coming. Anyway, she literally is the power behind their drug court. Now, Judge Durkin is a gifted jurist, and he's a wonderful judge. We know that. But this lady makes it happen. They run a drug court the way a drug court should be run. She works with addicts in their face. She works with them institutionally in a diversionary court system where they're taking 50 and 100 at a time. She takes them from entry to graduation to failure to revocation to back in jail because, I want to make sure I do this before I turn this over to Amy, we are not into coddling. I'm a citizen. I'm a former student in this school district. This community is on our watch as attorneys. Remember, you can refuse to represent anybody you want. Somebody who is committed to be a criminal distributor of these substances, this poison in our streets, is no friend of ours and no friend of this program. You choose make your own moral judgments. But I can tell you right now, if a person wants to recover, we're going to make it. We're going to get them through it. But you're not going to have it both ways. So we are very much into treatment, but very much into accountable treatment too. She could be an assistant. Okay, we're coming back to the afternoon segment on our classes right now. And as you well know, we have a nonprofit corporation. None of us are decided to profit from any of this. We're sharing our information. Me, as a defense attorney, I won't take cases in a county we work in. It's because I don't want people to argue that we're feathering our nest or whatever. It's all about neutral information and just us elevating the debate. So, my colleagues to my left are members of our nonprofit corporation, Vaughn Creasy, and Dan Bailey is our president, and Bruce Galick is here somewhere. And we just wanted to make sure before we go on to our next segment, we want you to know what our project is. We call it informally Recovery U. And it was his idea, not mine. Someday we want to talk about Recovery University. And we're going to try to start all the way down to the most basic level of human teaching on what a person might know about addiction, and take it all the way up to the nuances. When Amy picks up again, she's going to be showing you the legalizing marijuana proposed statute in Pennsylvania. When you see that as lawyers, you will be amazed at the legal problems that exist in that proposed statute. That takes you clear from a parent who's basically struggling with a person who's addicted, and takes you all the way through to a lawyer who could argue these nuances in front of a courtroom anywhere with dignity and pride. So our concept is to have maybe more of these instead of just once every once in a while, and maybe even use this facility and similar facilities like it, like a Mercer High School, where we have Dan's series of Recovery U courses. I can certify you, and on my end, I can provide CLE, continuing legal education courses, and CME courses, Act 48 hours for teachers, and so forth. Hopefully, maybe someday we'll branch out of the cafeteria and use more of these classrooms. Isn't it amazing that a beautiful facility like this is totally empty on a Saturday? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Amy over here knows that we go anywhere with projectors in our back pockets and extension cords and every time trying to make things work. Wouldn't it be easier if we had a permanent venue where we could show up maybe every Saturday for a 6-week job or something? So that's tomorrow, and I wanted to make sure I turn this over to Dan so he can explain what he does with people in the community for your just basic adult education classes, and also what you plan on doing in the future.
Okay, thanks, Angelo. My name is Dan Bailey, and I am in recovery as a parent of an addict. Okay, one of the things that we just did was teach a couple classes regarding that, but I'm going to just briefly tell you what we have been doing. It's more new. Matter of fact, today was the first 2 sessions we did. And I had recently, within the last 6 months, gone to school myself. I'm retired, but I went to school to learn to become a certified recovery specialist. And the reason being is I have a son who's a longtime heroin addict who's currently incarcerated in Mercer State Correctional Institute. Wonderful young man, got messed up in a bad drug of choice, Oxycontin, which moved on to heroin, and led to various crimes. It's not him, but it is him. Without the heroin, without the Oxycontins, I would have never expected that we would see my son where he's at today. But that being said, it put my wife and I on a mission about 12 or 13 years ago to learn what we were dealing with.
Okay, we're back now, and where we left off, I told you we would be going to Amy Klump, who is our main presenter today. But Amy well knows how we try to grab speakers when we can get them. So we plug them in out of place sometimes to keep it going so you don't have to wait and make it more efficient. We apologize for this little shuffling once more of the schedule, but we can't pass up an opportunity to get this next speaker. I've watched him as a football player when I used to teach school. I watched him as a kid. I watched him grow up and become a district attorney. I watched him on TV, like many of you have. And I'm sitting there going, wow, what an exciting career. What an exciting person he has become. Because he recognizes that each of us are not islands. Lawyers shouldn't just go home and be upset, put your feet up and say, wow, can't believe I went to law school. He's not one of those people. I know he enjoys what he does, and I know he shares what he does. That's important. What's amazing to me is he's so young, he shouldn't have anything to share yet, but he has plenty to share. He's done he's had an amazing career. He's been a private attorney and then he was a defense counsel. Then he became the solicitor for our county. Then he became the district attorney in Lawrence County. Then he was on TV on several important homicide cases as a consultant. And then he became a member of the parole board. And now he helps out. He called me this morning and said, after I'm frantically texting, are you available? He says, I can get down there, but you need to put me on right away. So we got him. So now as attorney, anybody in here who does criminal defense work probably is this far away from committing malpractice every day if you do it like most people do. And I'm including me in that too, years ago. If you show up and sentencing, and you know it's a cattle call usually. You show up and you're waiting your turn, and you just now open the folder and, okay, my guy's 62 years old. He didn't kill anybody. You do this, and you're trying to give this little speech to the judge. And we hope that you follow the plea bargain. And then you do what sometimes people do, where they shift their weight to right, to left, to right, to left, and let the judge do all the work. You're missing an amazing opportunity, because I have found, amazing. They're interested if you tell them not just accept the plea, but there's a plan. There's a way that we probably can rehabilitate this person. Many times the prosecutor, who has files this big, pile this big, and the boxes, and you guys in Mercer County carry them up in wagons. They do it in Butler too. Lawrence County, Ken used to make his people carry them all up in a pile. But the bottom line is, they're not going to oppose what you're saying. So everything you're saying is a wonderful opportunity to have a role, to have a say in what happens to the guy. Whether the plea is accepted is only a small fraction of that. So anyway, Matt has devoted himself to his latest project, and I think he's writing books on it. Please let us know where those can be got. He's involved in what he calls sentence advocacy. And many times, people who are going that low on the sentencing may be actually committing malpractice and not representing your client with the zeal. So first and foremost, let's make sure you listen to him so you don't commit malpractice. Bigger than that, let's go forward so that you're one of the best sentence advocates. Without more than that, it gives me great pleasure to thank him again for coming to our program, Matthew Mangini.